You're on mute, Jay. You're on mute.
Hey, how's that now?
There you go.
Welcome to Speaking of Schmoedown, a sports talk show devoted to the movie trivia Schmoedown. I know I have my glasses on so I can read everything, but I couldn't read that my mic was on mute. It happens, guys. But we're gonna have a great day of Schmoedown talk today. Before we get started, if you're watching here, go ahead and please subscribe to this channel on YouTube. Follow us also on stereo at the Jcast Network. We play this show live there too. So even if you're watching on YouTube, keep watching it on there. Go over to stereo and you can leave us comments. We'll play those on the show. Facebook page, Speaking of Schmoedown, and also on the Twitter at the Jcast Network. We got Double D, our numbers guy, back once again. How you doing? And he's back in his rightful spot up in the top corner, and I introduced him first. How you doing, buddy?
Well, I'm great. I just got my first vaccination shot from COVID yesterday, and I only have a sore arm, so I'll take soreness over the other symptoms any day of the week.
Excellent. And as well as Frenchie being backstage as producer from Schmoes of the North, we got another Schmoes of the North invasion, and I love it every time. We got Taco joining us here today. How you doing, man? Your first time on. Welcome.
Second time on, actually. Was I on here before?
Show.
Oh, this specific show.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Sorry, I don't use my brain. It's just for show. But yeah, fantastic. Thanks for having me on. I'm ready to drink beer and talk Schmoedown. And talk to Ace, my favorite Star Wars competitor. I can't wait.
Yeah, he was one of my top 4 draft picks in the fantasy league. The fantasy league is run by Daniel, aka Maple Dan, around here. How you doing, bud?
Not bad. Been exciting to get back on to this show and chat with all of you guys. We got some really fun Schmoedown to talk about this week, and I'm excited to get into it.
Good. Yeah, we're excited too. We got Frenchie back. He had to take a little bit of time off. Welcome back, buddy. And we've worked on our game Hot Matches. That I love having you back, Frenchie. We've worked on our game Hot Matches a little bit. We're going to try it out again here. We think we got it. This is going to be fun. It's kind of a version of Hot Potato. Frenchie is the only person who knows what time. He has some time limits for us, and we're all on screen going to talk about the matches from this week. And whoever is talking at the moment Frenchie's timer goes off is off the screen, out of the show, and then at the end of the opening 20-minute segment, we'll move on. But whoever loses the first couple rounds, there will be consequences in the interview as they will come in a little bit late. Did I do a good job there, Frenchie?
I think you did. I mean, obviously.
A little bit. All right, so we're going to start right now. The first match that dropped this week was Paige for Betty versus Peggy Gubbins. I'm sorry. Both those ladies were on a stereo and YouTube show last night. It was a great time. Go check that out if you can. Man, that was just an awesome match. It was fun. There was great trash talk, but the competition was top notch, guys. And this is, I'm getting started here, but feel free to cut me off if you want. This is a game, and you do not want to be talking whenever the timer goes off. So this is a free for all. Don't let me talk the whole time. So
I was making sure the timer wasn't 7 seconds. I was running the clock just a little bit. You never know with Frenchie.
That would have a little more conversation.
Yeah,
this is going to be my most silent video ever.
No, you gotta talk. Yeah,
kick your ass out and bypass Frenchie altogether.
That should actually be a consequence. If you don't talk, you should just be eliminated right off the spot. I think that's a good consequence.
All right, to prove I'm not a yellow belly, I'll jump in. I think Boston Badass has some of the best smack talk, and after Peggy Gubbins, I'm sure we'll talk about its intro, her pre-match stuff, which made me cry like ugly cry, like when Logan died at the end of Logan. Spoilers. I was won over by how good Paige's smack talk was. I loved her character. I loved her attitude. she didn't quite have what it. I think her intelligence is there, and I think her knowledge is there. Am I dead?
I get what you're saying, but let's get into the good stuff, dude. The competition, and I see you up there, Double D. I'm
actually trying to remember something because I'm not trying to be silent. I'm trying to remember what happened because didn't Paige get a horror question for a 5-pointer, or was that because I think that
I think so.
Yeah, but, so I felt like that was, for me personally, that was like a gimme because as soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh, it's this. And I'm like, so I felt like it was a little, like she could have won that if she had a little bit more thinking a little bit. But,
what was the question, Dan?
What?
What was the question and what was the answer? You just made a pretty big statement there.
I don't remember. That was a couple of days ago. A lot that has happened since this.
That's what I thought. I want to address something, and I'm not making an issue out of this, but is Australia really considered a war movie? Now, I know technically, when Ellis said it, he said war drama, and in the IMDb, it is listed as action comedy drama. So my assumption would be, if it were to be challenged, then it would probably be overruled because drama is in there. However, on the IMDb description, the very first line says, before World War II.
Also, I don't know, is war film a specific genre?
Yeah. Oh.
See you later.
Maple Dan is out in the bounce.
Oh,
I would say that war film is a genre. There are so many war films.
That was brutal.
Man, that's kind of a tough one, though. Really, that's kind of a tough because you can have war films, but if they're supposed to be based on actual wars, then you are kind of limited on. Well, that's overall.
What I will say is that you said that it was in the opening description, like before World War II, right? So I haven't seen Australia, so I
haven't seen Australia. That's why I'm not saying anything. I know nothing about Australia.
2 hours, 45 minutes long, and there is one bombing scene in the entire movie, and it's.
But does World War II take place? Does World War II start in the film?
It was in that time frame, but it was before Australia and
was it a friendly bombing or was it like a war bombing? Because I think if there's a bombing, it's a war.
Well, but
I mean, my grandpa was alive with this because he could probably answer this question. But since it takes place in that World War II time period and before they entered the war, then I would say that yes, it is a World War II drama.
This is not going how it was intended to, but that's okay. I love this. But however, I would counter that with if they go by IMDb for the genre and that's their basis, and the very first line in the description of the movie on IMDb is before World War II.
But if
but what's the sentence? But what's the full sentence? If it was like before World War II, these characters were born, 30 years later they do this. And just because it says before World War II in the first sentence, it doesn't mean that the movie doesn't take place during World War II. Again, I haven't seen the movie, but, before Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker's a thing. That doesn't mean that the movie's not about Luke.
That in Australia, before an English aristocrat who inherits a sprawling ranch reluctantly pacts with the stockmen in order to protect her new property from a takeover plot. It has to do with cattling is what the movie is about. It just happens.
Oh my God. How did I not miss this? How did I miss this movie? Holy crap. Australian cattle war movie?
Nicole Kidman and Hugh Jackman, dude.
I knew that, but I'm like, anyway, I have nothing to say about this.
You're making this movie up.
Movie.
Dude, I'm making
I've never even heard of it.
Answering a question, dude. What are you talking about?
They made it up first, and you're in on it. Schmoedown, I'm with Daniel. I'm with Maple Dan on this. You're in on it. That movie doesn't exist.
Question, Jay.
Mark Ellis is the one running Schmoedown.
I've been saying it.
We have a comment. Let's play this.
How's it going, y'all? First time viewer here.
Hey, thanks.
I think I was more impressed by Paige in this match. I mean, Peggy won. Good on her. I'm glad it was good for the story. But honestly, I think Paige is the one to be looking out for. I was super impressed by her gameplay. I mean, she got hit with those, those questions in round 3, but that happens to some of the best of them, hard 3, hard 5. Happens all the time. anyway, just my take.
Thank you.
I agree.
I was
I agree.
impressed with Paige's performance. Not to reveal.
What's up, yo? Top 2.
Pete is out. It's me and you, Taco. And
Oh my God.
But I'm a bigger fan of the Taco from the league than I am of yours. That being said, we're going to move
That's
on.
true. I'm a bigger fan of every human I've ever met besides you.
That's all right. Dude, I've heard far worse than that from my family. Damon versus Barbarian, dude. Okay, I won this in the fantasy league match. I had Damon. Frenchie had Barbarian, and because
I had Barbarian.
he can't come out here and say anything about it. So nanny. But for real though, this was a shut up, French. Get out of here. Take your tongue out. This match for real though was bomb ass, dude. I'll be honest. I had picked Damon more for the Star Wars competitor, even though knowing he was in IG also, that was a lot to do with my pick for him on my fantasy league. But in all truth be told, I thought Barbarian was going to win this, man. But I was very surprised by Damon.
Me too. I 100% thought Barbarian was going to win this. I drafted him very high in one of my leagues, and I stand by that. I think he's a solid three league player. But
sorry to interrupt.
But it just wasn't his day.
We got another comment. Sorry, this is a part of the game. We play comments. They interrupt.
Perfect. I love it.
What's going on, guys? So I mean, it's tough not to love both of these ladies after watching this match, especially Peggy Gummins here in that very emotional story going into the match. But what do you guys think of a potential matchup between Paige and Brother Loomis down the line? Both me and Corey seem to agree on our show here recently that that would be a good match for both of them because they have similar trajectories and kind of not doing as well in the third round, but doing really well in the first couple of rounds. So what do you guys think of that as a potential matchup?
100%. They're both 0-1, and they both made splashes. They're both entertaining people. I don't want to see these entertaining players who get 0-1 to just get booted. That's a perfect matchup. I would love to see that matchup. The only problem I have with it is that means that one of them is going to be 0-2, and I like both of them, and I don't wish that on either. That's my only problem with it. But yeah, I would love to see that matchup. I wouldn't mind if you put a 0-1 competitor like those two against somebody who's just down on their luck, who's been playing for years, who just kind of needs a win. That way, no one becomes zero. You're not forcing someone to become 0-2 because that's kind of a death sentence. Besides Demolanta, not a lot of people crawl out of that hole.
Yeah, and dude, but back to the hot matches, man, because my hands are.
Yeah, what's up? Oh my God! All right, well, welcome to the Taco Show. We're gonna talk about tacos mostly, and how good burgers are compared to them.
Thank you, Taco. I'm happy. I'm happy.
What's up? And I'm the guy who's told I need to shut up, and I won the not talking show. Yes. Oh, what's up?
Listen to me, like I was totally stoked. Like, yeah, that was a great match, but dude, that finally, I was about to go on a roll. I was about to go on a roll, Taco. Congratulations, Taco, which means that he and I are the top two. What this means is that when we bring on Ace, it will start with myself and Taco.
Will be no sense. I mean, if I get eliminated. If anything, you should be in the last one to talk to Ace because you're the last one to win.
Jay-Way, do you hear a voice? It sounds like a loser complaining. Do you hear something? I don't hear anything.
No.
You just hear mama.
I didn't look who's last. I'm not in the last place.
We start. Okay, Frenchie just corrected me. I love having a producer on this show. It's really cool. We'll start with Taco for a couple minutes, then I will come in, and then
Daniel.
And then no. Or no, you did go. Don't listen to me. I'm only the host. Yes, I love having you guys can't see this. I love having a producer because I'm reading him correcting me right now backstage, and it's amazingly awesome.
How does that work?
Yeah. We got another.
Daniel got killed first. Yeah, he got out first. Daniel should be last.
No respect Daniel, but I mean, he's the one that got first.
We don't need to argue the semantics of the private chat on air, guys. I'm sure
I'm
by
not
the
even
time we
looking
get
at it.
to that part of the
Oh,
show,
perfect.
it will be
I don't
resolved.
love anything more than a muted Frenchie. It's my favorite thing in the world.
Okay, so look, I'll do it myself. The first two people who get cut are the bottom two. So the first person to get cut is the last person to come in. Then the second person is the top two to the bottom two.
Yeah,
that
makes sense.
And then you have the winners, but then we determine who's the true winner, which is tackle.
All right.
I love this.
You giving me the first shot at Ace Cabrera? I'm going to derail this show so hard. I'm going to derail it.
If I haven't derailed it before, for as long as I've been on the show, you're not going to derail it.
I'm not even gonna look at the prepared questions, man. I'm talking nothing about my favorite Star Wars stuff. Only legends. That's it. Yeah, bring it on, Frenchie. I'm not afraid of you.
I'm
oh my God,
sure
a Canadian threatening me. What are you gonna apologize me to death?
He's on the boat.
Shut up, Daniel. Hold on. I want to say something, okay? It's my show. I created it. It's on my network. I'm the host. I want to say something on my show. And what I want to say is that I absolutely love that this has gone off the rails, and I love shit shows because it is absolutely possible to have shit shows that do still get good content and make a little bit of sense. But I love shit shows. Anyway, go ahead, Daniel.
I was going to say, I don't think this show ever had rails. It's like that Looney Tunes cartoon of like building the track 3 feet in front of the train.
Or like screwing it up every single minute.
Oh, that's good.
For real though, this is episode 15, and every episode's gone good. Some have gone really good. This is by far just the straight shit show is the best word. I love it. But we do have.
Well, you're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you. Dagan has another comment here for us.
Nice.
So what do you guys got between Damon and Kalinowski? I think that's going to be a hell of a match. It's the second match they've had. I think I got Kalinowski just because of the history, but either way, Mara Kanopik will be defending her belt against Kalinowski in a rivalry renewed or a potential dream matchup between Mara and Alex Damon. Both of those intrigued the hell out of me. I just wondered what you guys think is going to happen between Kalinowski and Damon.
Yeah, I mean, we did see Alex double belted by the end of the year. That's interesting.
And right now he's a pissed off Damon, and a pissed off Damon's a scary Damon. We've never seen him show any bit of an emotion, and we got like 1% emotion, which screamed. And he might rock right through Kalinowski, but I will say right now, hot take, I don't think Mara's going down at all. I don't think either of them have what it takes. I'm sorry. And I used to be in Mara naysayer, and holy shit was I corrected. Oh my God, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
good.
Hell yeah. Like 6 times in a row, dude.
I haven't listened to you, man. What are you talking about?
That's fair. But I also told Daniel to shut the fuck up too.
It's really tough for me because they're both like two of my absolute favorite players, and only one of them can win, and they're in direct competition. It's really something that I'm going to be on the edge of my seat for, because I want both of them to do well, but I'm not sure. I'm sure the only one. I'm sure Alex Damon will be improved on last year, but I also know that the new influx of categories plays to Mike's favor as much as it plays to Mara's, because he is a singles competitor as well. He knows all of the movies that were added because he would have studied them for regular movie trivia. And so it's really tough. Like, I don't know Damon's strengths on Terminator and Pirates of the Caribbean, like things that are brand new to the division rather than shuffled around. I know he's good at indie and a couple of other things that are true slices now. That'll be a difference maker too.
And we can't ignore that round 2 he got Star Wars. I don't like being that guy, but what would have happened if he was playing against Barbarian, he got Dystopian Futures or something like that?
True,
I just have to say.
But we also know
Wars.
it's the exact same result if he rolled Trek or Middle Earth, and I'm sure he's added at least 2 categories to that at this point. And I'm sure
Yeah.
Swashbuckling is one of those, considering he already has the indie knowledge.
Yep. Well, we will finish this one a little bit later if we have some time. Right now, guys, we are going to move on to a segment here.
I'm going to talk dirty to you for a second. Math.
Double D's, sexy numbers. What do you have for us this week, sir?
All right, so it's the beginning of April, and we just concluded our my March forecast last week. Even though we didn't have a show, there was still a segment that I put on our Facebook group and on the Schmoedown Facebook group. But this time, it's my April forecast. So let's start off with the Dungeon and their forecast for the month. So we can see that the most amount of points that they can earn this month is 41 points, and they could actually drop down to 10 points, but I will predict that they'll be somewhere between 15 and 36 points. Moving on to the Quirky Mercs. Oh no, Vinstock Exchange. I'm sorry, Vinstock Exchange. Yeah, Vinstock Exchange can have a high of 31 points. They can also drop down to 1 point, but I will predict that they'll be somewhere between 25 and 7 points. Moving on, again, I forgot. You're going to have to do this by myself. Okay, so Usual Suspects. The Usual Suspects have the least amount of points that they can earn for the month. So their high is going to be low compared to everyone else's. They can only earn as much as 19 points. They can also drop down to 4 points. But I'll predict that they'll probably be somewhere between 7 and 16 points. Moving on to the Den, their high is they can get as much as 22 points. They can drop down to as low as 2 points, and I'll probably predict that they'll most likely end up somewhere between 6 and 18 points. Moving on to the next one is Swag. Swag can earn up at as much as 28 points. They can drop down to as 2 points, and I predict that they'll be somewhere between 6 and 24 points. Moving on to the Usual Suspects, they can get as much as 32 points. They can drop down to 1 point if they get some
Quirky Marks. We already did Usual Suspects. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Quirky Mercs. I'm sorry, Quirky Mercs. The Quirky Mercs. The Quirky Mercs can be as high as 32 points. They can drop down to 1 point, but I'll predict that they'll be somewhere between 6 and 27 points. Moving on to the Stars, they're the only faction that actually has can get as low as a negative score, and they can gain some ground with a high score of 32 points, but they'll probably end up somewhere between 4 and 27 points. And finally, Corruption, and I knew that one. They can end up with drop down to 0 points. They can be as high as 27 points, but they'll probably end up somewhere between 4 and 23 points. And that'll conclude my my forecast. So, what do you think, Dan?
I have one suggestion in maybe putting the middle mark of those the possibility of points, because the low end is what we're at, and
yes.
assuming parity in the league, it would be nice to have an average possible points, and so that would be about the mid mark.
There's not enough data because this is the second season that we've had factions.
That's why I was saying just mid, because
nice,
assume parity where it's not there.
Yeah, but it's even my last week's the results of last week's. You can definitely see that there's a big disparity between especially the low end, like Corruption or the Stars. They were very low, but I had them within a certain range. But once we get closer to the tournaments, you're going to see that's going to be disappearing really quickly, because if you were to track it every single week, because obviously the points would actually shrink a lot more quickly.
Yeah, and also people will be awarded less matches as their players drop out of tournaments, so it'll be easier to mark 3 factions versus 8. Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just very tough to sometimes like look through the graphs and do the math in your head of like, okay, so how many championship matches is that, and possibilities for large point swings, and
actually, I have that all on a spreadsheet, and it all feeds into. I sorted everything out, and I just kind of summed it all up, making my life even easier.
Yeah.
So,
what I did.
The only thing I have to manually do is the current champions and awarding that the defense title. That's the only manual thing I have to do. But once I find out how many title matches there, all I have to do is hit one. And,
and for anyone listening, like a great way to look at it is I could tell by how many negative points are possible. That's how many matches that faction is going to play.
Exactly. So interesting enough, there's no negative scores with free for all, which I failed to mention. This does include a free for all. So there's 5 potential people that could actually score the MVP award. So there's 3 points there and no points awarded to the winner. So there's that factor in as well. But it's only awarded to the MVP and not the winner. So you have to kind of take that into consideration as well.
And yeah, I can definitely see which faction was it that's only got the 3 matches this month? That
would be the usual suspects.
Yeah,
they have like 3 matches, and it's like, yeah, that's not, and that includes the free for all, the free for all award. So it's they have the least amount. They can't afford to lose any points this season because they're going to be very behind compared to everyone else. If people continue to win.
The one strategy to that is you only have 3 matches to focus on, and so you're only training those 3 people, and I don't know exactly what the matches are. They're probably multi-divisional, but
one is Stacey Howard with I think with Kevin Smith.
Yes.
Going down the list, usually Drew McWeeny is the other one.
And playing Lon Harris, one of my most anticipated matches of next month.
And I can't find. The other one was Paige Ferretti, but so they actually won that match.
Okay.
So they're on a good track, but can they continue to win?
They lost that match. Peggy won.
Peggy won. I'm sorry. So they already. I'm sorry. Again, I had a video already made up. Paige lost that match. So they are actually lost 3 points to that forecast. So they need to actually bank on the free for all and the other 2 matches that they have.
Tough.
Yeah.
And this whole time you guys are talking, all I can hear in my head is,
I'm going to talk dirty to you for a second. Math.
Yeah, Roxy in the house.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, when I was watching that match and she said that, I was like, instantly, that's it, dude. That is perfect for this segment. And I was like, okay, I got to clip that out. Thank you very much, Dan, for your your segment. Sexy numbers today. They were some sexy numbers. Numbers are hot, I guess. I don't know. Actually, let me plug something real quick that has nothing to do with Schmoedown. If there are any music fans out there, especially if you're a fan of Weezer, their latest album, there's a great song on there called Numbers. Check it out. Really good, especially if you're into math. Like Dan, check it out. Double D. It's a great song, dude. Great song. But we are now going to move on to Frenchie's Corner, where I see once again Frenchie must be so confident that I'm going to win that he has to bring in a ringer once again. Yeah. All right, get up here with your cute.
No, it's called Daddy and Lulu time. It has nothing to do with defeating you, even though it will help. Say hi, everyone. Hi.
Hey, Luna, she's cute.
She just got home, so she's like, what's going on?
Yeah, she's adorable.
Who's this man?
Yeah, those of you listening on the stereo and not watching on YouTube right now, sometimes when Frenchie has some questions for this segment that he thinks he's going to lose the debate on, he will bring his adorable baby daughter on here and she distracts me every time, and I lose my train of thought. So,
all right. So enough focus on her. I'll let her do her job. That being said, this is the first question: is -1 a good thing in the league? I'm gonna start. Yes, wholeheartedly yes. You can shake all you want. It's all good, bro. That being said, the last time I was on, I was arguing bringing change, bringing something to shake up a bit, making things more tighter. The -1 is going to create drama. Someone's in the lead, but one person's 2 points behind. But oh no, they lost 1 point. This is gonna just advance the sport and the entertainment at the same time. Are you gonna say you're gonna say the -1 doesn't exist nowhere else?
No, you're disrespecting competition, dude.
If you get TKO'd or KO'd, you did not perform. That's a competition.
You already lost the match and didn't get the points. Why are you being penalized for not playing good enough? That's like saying in a baseball game.
Because it creates more stakes.
You can only lose, and this goes against your winning record. It goes as a loss. But because you lost by like 5-6 runs and you didn't play very well, we're going to go ahead and give you 2 losses on your record. Be damned everything else that you do for the rest of the season. It makes no sense. It's not right, dude. Beyond making no sense, for real, dude, it's not right, dude. It's not right to do to them.
So
you already didn't get the points. Isn't that bad enough? Everyone has off days. No other sport is going to be like, okay, you lost the game, but on top of that, you didn't play very well today, so we're going to penalize you for that too.
All right, so Lulu, now you've finally heard. You finally heard what a grumpy old man sounds like. That's Mr. J Wade. The blah 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 blah. You heard grumpy old man. There you go. Look, yeah. If you just go an analytical point, like what you think makes sense, but what this is what the league needs. It needs because no. Look at last year. It was determined in the second match of Spectacular, the rankings. By doing this, you're going to have a lot more things to go on and less of a chance of people just running after it. Because Roxy didn't run after it. But it's easy, especially if a team has a super team and can dominate and crack the code of Schmoedown. You need this little ways to balance it out.
Dude, first of all, this is the second time that you suggested something that was absolutely ridiculous, and the only reason you suggested it was to spice things up and crap like that. Dude, no, we can't, dude. If this is supposed to be like a sport with competition, then we cannot delude and cheapen the competition. And by penalizing people for losing, I mean, you already lost, dude. You already did not win points. Why the hell are you going to take away points because you had a bad day? You can't do that, dude. It's not right. Everything else thrown aside, the drama of it, the rankings and how close it could be and all this. Dude, no, it's not. Dude, there has to be a moment where you say this is not right to the players. This is not right to the competitors. You can't do that, dude. You're building career stats. No other sports, when you build career stats, like most hits, most steals.
Again, you are comparing to other sports. This is Zone Frankenstein.
You don't gain stats. If I'm a pitcher and I'm going for a perfect game, if I don't get the perfect game, I don't get the stat. But if I play like shit, I don't lose a stat. You don't lose stats for poor performance. Yeah.
Okay, so if you have any blood pressure issues, let me know. Okay, if not, we're gonna go.
I know for sure.
We're gonna go on to the second question. Take a breather. Look at this beautiful sweetie pie. Bring joy and flowers to your life. And
that last one was ridiculous, dude. That was as Roxy would say, that was a twat take, my friend.
I'm happy you have opinions.
In my opinion.
I'm happy you have one. So should Oyama ask for a trade? And the reason why I went with this one is the last minute one. His face looked he could murder the cutest dog on the planet. Okay, he looked so annoyed with Lon. Like at the end when he lost and Lon was doing his jokes, it was funny at first for him, but now it's like cool. But can you perform now?
Yeah.
So do you trade him?
He was saying in a roundabout way, without directly saying Lon blew that match for them.
Oh, yeah.
He said it. He only blamed himself, but you could tell the way he put it and stuff, a couple things he worded, that he was only doing that because he didn't want to sit there and all out be like, dude, you screwed up. But behind scenes, if he didn't tell Lon, dude, you blew that, then that's a shame, because no offense, Lon's great, but in moments like that, your teammate needs to be told. But we both agree on what your basis there, but how do you feel about the trade?
I say, and this is not in, because you can still use your advantage. There's still paces. Yeah, I know. There's still pieces you can put together. But going with Christian Harloff's storyline is going for, you have your perfect person to go against Winston. Oyama. You don't trade him. You make him part of the whole Shanju thing.
Huh. I don't know, man. I say trade him. And I go because based on what we were just talking about, that was at least from my perspective, we don't know, dude. Maybe he's really that good of an actor. From my perspective, that was genuine disappointment, and like he was not feeling that. That dude. I think, dude, that I think in this situation you got to go what's best for the person and the player over what's best for a potential storyline. I think you trade Oyama. And you don't even think about, like, we could make this a part of the Chandru thing. That's cool, but I don't even do that to him, because it seems sincere, his disappointment. I say trade him, and Winston did great last season, but I think Winston's got some work to do this season, and perhaps trading Oyama might do some good for Oyama.
This thing, Winston wouldn't want to trade him. Oyama would have to say, trade me, and now.
Yes. Yes,
this is not working. But at the same time, I get it, right? But I'm sure there's another piece you can, sadly, I'm gonna say it, replace Lon. Okay, you can replace Lon.
You can
maybe problem solved, and you advance a storyline that now is so natural. You can see it. Let's say if it was real, right? He was containing himself. It was real. That realness will translate into the storyline so perfectly. You might have found your guy that's really be on the same level as Shanju and not doubt his plan.
So is the question, should Oyama ask for a trade, or is the question should he trade Lon Harris? Or are you saying keep Lon on the team but just make a different teammate?
But me is more like, we could trade Lon, right? But you need to find a good partner for Oyama. And sadly, the way I'm feeling, I love his character, but his performance is not valued that much. So they're not going to get something in return that's going to really, unless they found like a chemistry thing, which is possible, but that takes a lot of research. So I really think that if someone would be traded, would be Oyama. That's because he can get something good, right? But it would be a mistake, because I'm sure you can plug someone else in your team with Oyama still and have probably one of the greatest storylines we've seen in a recent time, and goes with War.
I don't see anyone on Swag that you could pair up with.
Okay. Sure, we have to go. You know what? We're not going to talk about that, but the people we're bringing on will do that. Okay. So that being said, let's put on, everyone, have a little opinion on what we just said. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. It would help.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Speaking of Schmoedown, a sports talk. Hey, Double D in the house. We got Taco back up here. I will unmute you no. I can't unmute you. You need to unmute yourself and Daniel. So you guys just listened to what we were talking about. We'll go in a clockwise motion according to our screen. Double D, Taco, then Maple Dan. What do you guys think on what you just heard?
I agree 100% with Frenchie because let's first talk about the one. What?
On which question?
Oh. I mean, it's first of all, let's start with the -1. So, with -1, you do need, I mean, I'm repeating what Frenchie says, you do need that kind of, it's definitely a punishment for the players who lose, but it's a consequence for losing the match overall. And it makes this uncertainty, like last year, we saw corruption. It was like a no-brainer. The first match, corruption would have won. Boom, it's over. But this, the -1 point does change things a little bit because my results with my forecast for March, I would have been wrong with the Quirky Mercs because they were at that -1 level for so long because they lost every single match. Had they did not win the Star Wars title match, it would still be at -1 and I would have been wrong. But they won the Star Wars match. They popped right back up to their range. That's what's great is that you can't predict where they're going to end up because you don't know what the results are. That's why I would say that's the exact same reason why it's so hard to have that average score because you can't really know what's going to happen because how does the TKOs and the KOs factor in? It's very difficult. And with Oyama, exactly. His reaction was genuine, and that's the perfect person to join Chandru's mutiny, so to speak. So, what do you think, Taco? What are your thoughts?
I agree with the Oyama thing. I still just think the guy needs a hug. I felt so bad for him after that match when you come through and have, except for getting the bonus, but such a good first round, and then I love Lon, but he brought his bad case of yips he had as a professor onto the delinquent, and he had a really bad first round, and I would be equally frustrated. And I think you keep him, you use that. That's the game playing into the storyline, and that's perfect. You can't script that, man. He joined the mutiny and take over the pirate ship or whatever mutinies are. But when it comes to the first topic, I tend not to listen to Frenchie just as a general rule. And also him using a kid to bring up his likability factor to win. It's a really, really dirty move, and I don't respect it. But now I'm agreeing with him for a second time. Yeah, I know. I have a cute kid too, and she's never going to be on screen.
Look, full disclosure, I see her 2 days a week, so I'm with her. Okay. She's with me now.
Okay, so
go ahead.
I'm gonna also sadly agree with Frenchie on the first point, but not on the second. I think Final Exam is still the best possible team that Swag can put together at this point. I might be more inclined to see Paul join Chandru if one of that sort of faction within the faction was a singles and teams player. Like, Paul Oyama needs a teams player to play teams. And I can't really put all of that blame on Lon when Paul is just as responsible for the 4-point swing in round 2 as Lon is for the 3.1. Like,
that's 4 points, though.
Yes, but that would have given them the opportunity to answer the 5, and that pushes the questions back to Shazam. And, like, Paul missing his 3 in round 3 is what killed the game, not Lon missing a question in round 3, not Lon missing a question in round 2. It was
5 questions.
It's
Sorry.
Not. I mean, wasn't it 3 questions in round 1?
I thought he missed 5 in a row, dude. Maybe it wasn't just all in round 1, but I know he missed a lot in round 1.
I think it was so Paul had a perfect. I have to look at my other sheet. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I think it was 4. At least that.
It might have been 4, but I thought there was only a 3-point lead, and so the max.
Yeah, there was a 3-point lead for Paul Yama's.
Because Paul did his job and got all but the bonus.
But I think Bibiani and the kid missed a couple of questions as well. Because otherwise, if they would have been perfect, they would have been 16.
Bibbs missed.
It would have been a much bigger lead going into that next round. But my point was just to say that, like, I do feel that second round error is a much bigger error than the first round one. The first round is kind of irrelevant in teams because it's the round with the least amount of points in it. Mm-hmm. Like the least amount of points spread possible, because like you can get so many more points in the other rounds.
Yeah, I do kind of feel like you should keep Lon and Paul together because they are good most of the time. But there's hold on. You had Bradley Tingler. I think he's a rookie, isn't he? And maybe he's just as good as.
We'll see.
Yeah, we just don't know. We haven't seen him, so maybe that's probably one. But there's several that maybe could go with it all. Eric Zipper's
so Lon did miss 5 in round 1, but
now I don't know if I'm fully subscribing in the break them up category. I just understand that I think Paul should join the mutiny. That doesn't mean I don't think Lon should as well, because Lon plays good. Lon plays good, but channel that hate instead of to Lon to that's the storyline. Channel it to Winston. Say it's his fault for not training Lon or something. Like, you can make that work. And I don't think you should split them up. Final Exam's one of my favorite teams. I don't want to see them split up, but I do think that Paul should join the mutiny and not leave the faction.
Yeah, I agree with that.
True.
And I'll wrap up this little segment by adding to that. Now that you say that, Taco, that could be very interesting with Paul and Lon staying a team, Lon staying with Winston's back and Oyama turning. Okay,
that would be interesting too.
Next of 1 point though, but that's okay.
You don't know numbers, Jay. You don't know numbers.
Yep. But
then even building on that, you make Winston find out about it, and then they both turn into spies, and so they're like. Playing against each other and trying to dig information about the other side out of each other.
You guys are crazy. We're going to drop these guys off screen here now and move on to a segment called Hard Questions. Bring Frenchie up here with me. We got one here this week that was actually submitted by ASG of the Let's Get Ready Network. Frenchie, my man, welcome back, dude. How you doing?
I'm doing good. She's a squirmy one today. I'm doing really good. I'm happy to see most people agree with me today. Yay! The baby worked. All right, so let's go in here.
Yeah, and this is a more serious. This is not a debate type thing where and anything like that. This is where we take things that could be sensitive or are sensitive conversations going on in Schmoedown. And we just try to have an honest discussion about it and bring the pros and cons.
What's wrong, baby? Sorry, Frankie.
Oh, you're good. Let's see here. The question we had this week was from ASG from Let's Get Ready Network. Is April too early in the season for free agency? I'll let you start on this. What are your thoughts? Because I definitely have a thought.
Well, that's the thing. I think too early to even have an opinion. I want to kind of see what happens, because I couldn't understand why. Like, those who really crashed and burned, it's a way to kind of, okay, you know what? FCL. We know in advance for FCL. You're good. Do some practice, come back. There might be a couple of them, right? Rookies or veterans. That being said, is there going to be enough? Are they having other sources we don't know about? Are they expanding the FCL and it's a free agency to see who in the rest of the FCL and the list goes to FCL and those top people go to Schmoedown, and it's a list we haven't seen with people we've never heard about. We don't know what's going on, right? So logically, okay, kind of early, but I don't think Christian would make a bad move like that if he himself would think it's too early, right? He's got to have a plan.
Yeah, and the final thing you just said there is this is Christian's baby. There have been things along the way that have not made sense to me. There have been things that I have not agreed with and still don't. But he's proven that he knows what he's doing. The end results, I've never questioned the end results overall in general when Christian does things. My concern here is just like like you were just saying, though, it's too early. I don't think it's too early to form the opinion that it's too early in the season to. I mean, most of your roster hasn't even played yet. So, I mean, in my opinion, I don't know. If I
Ferris, yes.
If I were a manager, I would want at least 3/4 of my roster to have played before free agency. I would be comfortable with that. But I'm not comfortable with just like
maybe it's not a force. That's the thing. Maybe it's not a forced free agency, meaning everyone has to drop 1%. It's more like if anyone wants to do it, drop, try to see who you can get. Right. We have a new roster list. We're gonna put in an FCL, but if you scour the talent first, you can maybe have them if you have someone to drop, right? Maybe that's more like that. I don't think we're going again. Nothing's traditional Schmoedown. Right. If we're thinking about what the concept might be, we might have to merge 2 or 3 concepts and have probably closer to what he has. So because of that, he seems very knows where he's going, and it always works usually, right? So I think it's a bit more complicated, and let's just cut clear because the only thing we can reference is things that we know exist, which is not Schmoedown.
There's only one agency, like in the middle of the season, or will there be another?
I don't know. ASG, if you can help out, if you know, bro, let us know. But
it just we're 2 months into the season. It just seems, I don't know. It just seems really early. And like you said, if it's a voluntary thing, like it's not mandatory that you have to do it. You know what I mean? But even then, if it's voluntary, it just seems like it's a little early to be making it an option. But I mean, I don't know, man. I've said it before. I'm in a traditional sport, so I'm still trying to wrap my head around the more wrestling, MMA stuff.
Yeah, but eventually you'll see. You'll try to guesstimate things are coming, right? And you're gonna start understanding now a bit what is Harloff's style. He's creating his own sport, so he does. I don't think it serves him to just go into one thing, right? But at one time, you're gonna start being able to really understand and kind of guess what he does and be close to his logic, because there is a logic train that follows in all his decisions, and there's repeating patterns to the logic train. So I really find that it might seem too early, but it might be the most brilliant thing on the planet. So
yeah, and I was also thinking the other day while I was on a little drive in the country. I have some friends from high school, and they love to make up their own games, like make up their own games, their own rules. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, I kind of looked at it from that perspective. This is not a traditional sport. There is nothing else like Schmoedown to compare Schmoedown to.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to open my mind up more and more to like, okay, this is not like Christian started a baseball league and we've got to stick with the rules of baseball, which has been established for years. I'm starting to finally really get into that set where it's like Christian created this sport, and he is the one who gets to make the rules and all of that stuff, no matter who likes it, whether you like it or not. You know, when baseball or basketball or football were created, I'm sure there were people who didn't like what was going on, didn't like certain things, but that's up to the creator. There's no other trivia league or sports quite like this to compare it to. So I'm starting to come around to that way of thinking that, he's going to based on what makes him. A lot of them may reflect
Jay, wait. That being said, she's really become squirmy. I think it might be the diapers. So I'm gonna drop. Okay. No. It's called. I'm sure you poop yourself sometimes. You know what it smells like.
Yeah, I'm a grumpy old man for a reason.
All right, so I'm gonna drop off. I'm gonna actually implement, since he's the last one coming in for hot matches. I'm gonna let in Dan fill in for me to continue the conversation, and then we have a special guest right after coming in.
All right.
Excellent.
So my thoughts about this is that Christian, we all the managers kind of know where their players are because they kind of pre-record most of their matches. So if they see the first class league, and again, I do think it is more of an option to say, hey, listen, it's not mandatory,
right?
And it's just kind of released. This is the end date for who you can't make any trades at this point. It's just kind of releasing all that information right now so that everyone can kind of plan their roster. They can kind of see people from the first league if they see someone that's better in the first class league, and then or the Flouse class league, or if you want to say that. And their competitors on their roster isn't good. They say, okay, let me drop this person and grab that person. Something like we're doing with our fantasy league. Obviously, you dropped Humphrey, and I think you picked up someone, but whatever. But I think that's the kind of akin to what the free agency is right now. It's not compared to what normal sports are.
Right. I don't know. I mean, like I said, like my final thing I was saying there, Christian created this sport, and some things may not make sense to me, but that's the way they are, and I'm going to have to wrap my head around it or not, and just be a grumpy old dude who doesn't understand it for some reason.
Or just smoke a joint and just say, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to enjoy it.
Ohio. I don't know if I don't know. Just like I said, it just seems a little early. My thing is now I could see like Frenchie was saying, some of the folks who have played already, and maybe you don't have a good feeling about them. They didn't perform as well as you thought they were going to.
Yeah.
It would be confusing to me, or it would suck if people were traded or let go and picked up who just hadn't played yet. Hadn't really seen anything from them yet. That's why I would want more of my faction to play before.
Yeah, but you're saying that from your perspective. Yeah, look at it from their perspective, where they've already filmed matches and they kind of know how everyone is playing. And of course, they also do mock matches, so they kind of know who's going to be good, and they can kind of guess. But obviously, I guess it's just a guess. So I think it's not mandatory. It's just like, here it is. We're just gonna here it is. Well, if you decide to go or trade or drop someone, great. Here's the end date to complete your faction. Done. Moving on to other stuff, more important stuff.
And you know what? You just completely changed my mind. I'm perfectly fine with whenever they want to do free agency, because it just occurred to me I have to compare things to traditional sports for me to be able to understand some of it. Yeah. Well, a baseball team, a manager, man, if there's a player that's not pulling their weight, or they feel there's someone that would fit the team better, they're going to pull them out and they're going to call up someone from the minors, or they're going to make a trade, or they're going to move people around. We as fans may not understand it, but them being the managers and coaches, like you said, they're with them, they're training them, they see things we don't know. So this is one of those things where you just got to trust the management to know what they're doing with their factions, and trust Christian with what he's doing and running things, which I do. Overall, man, he has done an absolutely amazing job. So, but our guest is here now, everybody. We are going to bring in our guest now, Ace Cabrera from Swag. Drip, drip, everybody. Hello, sir. How are you? Oh, Frenchie, how are we going to do this? Do I introduce our game? How do I do this?
I already saw. So basically, you're just gonna explain to Ace what the result of the game is, just like maybe 2 minutes. Then we'll start with tackle, and then I'll bring in everyone on along the run.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Ace,
hi, Ace.
That's Frenchie. He's my producer from Schmoes of the North. Not sure if you've met him before. Today has been a great show, but it's also been a shit show, which I have no problem with whatsoever. I think they're fun. But we start off our opening segment is 20 minutes. We talk about the matches from the previous week. We do a little game out of it, and Frenchie has times set in his clock, and when his timer goes off, whoever's talking is out of the game and off screen. And then at the end of that round of that game, whoever is the last one standing starts off the interview with the guest, and then the rest of the people come in a couple minutes later in order. We wanted to have some penalties if you lose our game. So first of all, welcome to the show. I know you're probably sitting there like, dude, I've never been here before, never talked to you. What the hell is going on? But that's our little game. And to start us off is Taco, who is actually from Schmoes of the North. Have at it, man. Let's get this party started.
I'm gonna give you a second to talk, Ace. You're just sitting there all quiet. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Good. How are you?
Fantastic. I just had a really long bike ride, and I'm trying to rehydrate myself, and I'm really excited to talk to you about. Well, I want to talk to you about Star Wars and not even bring up the Schmoedown because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. But I guess we have to talk about the Schmoedown, which is super lame, but
oh my gosh.
So how are you doing?
Good, man. Good.
Good. Let me actually ask you a Star Wars, or not a Star Wars question, a Schmoedown question. This is something that I've been wondering for a long time. So I've been a Schmoes No follower for years. Like, I think I came in season 2 of the tournament. So it was, then I went back and watched all of the first season of Schmoedown stuff. And I know that you've been around for a very long time. You're the guy with the big water jug.
Yeah.
But you haven't had that same relationship with the Schmoedown itself. Most of it was backstage, or you're just around. So did you ever see yourself having this much presence in the game itself? Did you always think, hey, one day I'm going to go in there and show them my knowledge? Or did you, was it just something that happened?
Yeah, it kind of just happened, man. It's one of those things where I always felt like I could compete in IG. Especially in the beginning phase of IG. IG now is like a different monster. Obviously, I'm ready to tackle that when that comes around. But yeah, my thought was always like anything comic book movies, I still think I could kill. And then obviously Star Wars kind of comes hand in hand with me. So when the Star Wars division opened up, I was like, let me try it out. Sure enough, hindsight's 2020. History turned out the way it is now. So yeah, it's been crazy, man.
Did you think you were gonna did you come in as a play-in match like I'll take this tournament, or was it just upset city?
I was just like, let me win a match, and then let me see what happens from there. But then every match that was presented to me, I just wanted to keep winning. So obviously it turned out the way it did. But yeah, my plan was definitely just like win what's in front of me and then worry about the rest.
Well, in your opening match, your IG match against Paul, I mean, I'm assuming that helped or hurt your confidence just a tad. I actually picked you up on my fantasy league right before that match because no one had you, and I was like, everyone's talking to Parker. Maybe I'll grab Ace. And I kind of forgot I picked you up. And then when I had you on the Star Wars tournament, you were all the points I got last year. I did not do good, but you were like all of my points was you just killing that Star Wars tournament. So thanks. I don't think I finished in last place. But yeah, so what was it like being like Upset City's a cool thing to say, but you had to have seen the polls on Facebook. Did it actually help your confidence seeing that people were betting against you? Or like, how did that make you feel?
No, I don't think I was ever really that surprised. I just thought it was kind of funny how like everyone just kept doing it. It was like one of those things where everyone was like, yeah, but I still got to pick Lori Kelly. Yeah, but I still got to pick Ken. It's like, all right, cool. I get it, but it was funny the fact that everyone kept repeating the fact that I was going to lose the next one. They were like, all right, this is the one he's going to lose. And I was like, did I? I don't think I'm going to lose, man. So yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. I think now it's just a different level. Then it was very understandable, but now it's just like, it's funny to me now. The way that everyone's saying that I'm going to lose this tourney.
I got you taking it. I didn't have you taking it last time. I had you getting into it, and I think I had you beating Ken. But everyone saw the fire that was Laura Kelly, and then later Demolanta. I didn't really think anyone was going to beat those guys except for each other, and I was super happy when you did. Like I was very happy that you proved me wrong and then took it. But I had you against Ken. No offense against Ken. I love the pit boss, but you could just see that rocky energy that you had just coming in.
Yeah.
How's it going, Jay Wade?
Appreciate it.
Pretty good.
I'm having a private conversation with my buddy Ace here. What do you want?
I really, really like the game that we're doing. We're going to fine tune it, but I really like the consequences of if you lose early in the game, then you have to sit out early in the interview. I really like that. Ace, I'm looking at the brackets here for the upcoming tournament, and now I know. And that's fine if this is true, and not to say that that it's disingenuous when Schmoedown competitors say this. A common answer when asked about competing against specific people is, give me anybody, I'll take anyone, it doesn't matter. But, I mean, here on your side of the bracket on the right side, you could be going up against Thomas Harper if things line up that way. Now, Thomas Harper has been highly touted, and I personally think he's going to go a long way in this. But my question is there a part of you that wants him on the other side of the bracket because he is so highly thought of as a rookie here in Star Wars this year?
No, not at all. I'm cool. I like that he's on my side of the bracket because I feel like that's going to be. I guess it's going to be a bracket buster. Implying that I'm going to be the bracket buster, considering that everyone already picked him to win the tournament, even though he hasn't even had a single Star Wars match inside the league. Sure, go for it, guys. Go pick Thomas Harper and see what happens. Yeah, I mean, no, I'm cool with it. It's definitely one of those things where I would have preferred if I didn't face him first.
Right.
My first match, because then it was like, all right, if it's Thomas Harper in my first match, I feel like that's like, I don't know, you got to at least make that like a semifinal match. But the fact that it's not my first match, if he's my second match, that's cool. That's cool with me. I don't mind that he's on my side of the bracket. If anything, it makes my side even more fun to watch.
Yeah, very fair. I just didn't know if you had any of those rivalry. Like, I want to take on the guy that, I didn't know if that was.
I definitely want to face him. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I want to see that match too. Nothing against Sullivan or Whiteley, but I want to. Yeah. I want to see that too. And I picked you up this season in my Schmoedown Fantasy League. So this is going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. But I did want to ask you a question real quick that has to do with Star Wars, because I know Dan and Double D and Dan are. Yep, there's Daniel. Real quick, if you could pitch a Star Wars show to Disney, any Star Wars show to Disney, what would it be?
Ooh, it's funny because I would have said I was saying it for like 15 years probably, since like Revenge of the Sith, the Obi-Wan show would have been perfect. But since that's happening already, I don't know. You know what, man? I always felt like if you could do, what did I pitch to? I pitched something to Riley one time on a show that I actually kind of liked. I think I said if you pitch like a show, almost like a New Republic type show, where you see the Jedi in a different era and kind of what happened to the Jedi to kind of team up with the Republic, and what made them kind of go in that direction. And also, I kind of want to see what the Jedi Order became as far as like the High Council, the 12. I think that'd be kind of a cool show to watch. So kind of like the restructuring of like the Jedi Order, I think would be kind of a cool show. I know that's the most nerdy answer ever, but I feel like the more we learn about the Jedi and stuff like that, I think that's the coolest thing.
You have no idea what's in my head. That was not the most nerdy thing you can say.
Yeah, honestly,
Gotcha.
As not the biggest Star Wars fan, but I always liked a lot of the extended universe stuff, and I'm very disappointed half of it's not canon. But I would honestly love an animated show based on the small comic run that was on the planet Tython, the Force planet, and like kind of the dawn of Force powers in general. I really thought that was always very cool, and the comic itself was very like colorful and very fun to read. So that would be my pitch to Disney for a Star Wars show.
Oh yeah. Double D.
Yeah, I'm finally here. But
Actually,
I'll make this quick. Ace. So first of
Double
all,
D lost officially.
Well,
He was.
Just move on. Let's move on. Nice to meet you, Ace. It's great to see you. With Alex and Andrew's match that has just been played, and them going perfect, does that put a lot more pressure on you to be perfect?
I mean, I think everyone inside the Star Wars division now is implying that they're going to have to go perfect, or feeling like they're going to have to go perfect, considering what they're seeing now in these matches. I feel like that's definitely something that everyone's kind of keeping in mind for sure. But if I'm being honest, I'm not too concerned. At least
I just noticed this.
the Ken book
on Ken Eptalk's book.
Yeah. My thing is like I feel like as far as everything I've heard now, the questions for every single Star Wars match this season has been like layups to me. So I'm at a point now where it's like, if I don't think this is gonna be. I mean, maybe they're gonna save the hard questions for me, like they always do.
Basically, what I've always noticed is that usually the earlier matches, especially with rookies, it seems like the questions, especially when you're just sitting and you're not in the hot seat, it seems a lot easier because I was going with that. I'm a Star Wars fan as well, but I'm not competing in this league. I cannot compete. But even I'm going, oh, it's this. Oh, it's this. It's this. And it's like I knew it, but it seems like even Marie Wilson was like, I'm like, really? I mean, but I mean, obviously, I'm not in the hot seat. So
yeah. I definitely feel like there's like a whole conversation, at least within the Star Wars competitors, at least me personally, with like a couple people like the Damons. I've talked to quite a few times about it, that as far as like the level of questions, and you never really know what you're going to get for a 1 or a 2. Like I remember my 2-pointers ranged from like, who was the colonel on Mimban on Solo. Like that would be like a 5-pointer now in this division. But that was my 2-pointer. And then I had a 1-pointer talking about like, who was a pod racer who was killed first, or who was the creator of the BT-16 perimeter droid in Return of the Jedi, which I was like, but then again, I was like, that's a 1-pointer. And now it's like, I saw a 2-pointer that was like, who blocked Count Dooku's Force Lightning with their lightsaber. And I was like, all right, guys, come on. Like everyone knows, if you've seen Attack of the Clones, maybe like 10 seconds of it, it's okay. So my thing is like, I feel like they're kind of just mixing it up this season as far as like question difficulty. A few layups, a few easy ones, just to kind of get everyone's feeling. But I'm definitely curious what they're gonna develop for the tournament, or if it's gonna be different. So
I think we'll see in the tournament a lot closer to last season's tournament.
I think so too. Yeah.
We saw like the beginning few Star Wars matches of last season were a slightly, I won't say like lower tier, but they do like throw a couple more layups to rookie competitors, for an example. And speaking of the tournament, you have actually, I'm assuming you're going to walk through this tournament again too. I'm on your side, unlike the rest of the world, apparently.
Yes.
But you've actually played all of the possible champions.
Yes.
I've wanted to know, between Damon's going to play Dimolanta, and then the winner of that match, the rematch, will play Kelly. Do you want to beat Alex Damon and get the win against that last one, or do you want one of the competitors you've already won against?
You know, it's funny because I do want to beat Alex Damon. So to answer your question, yes, I want to beat Alex Damon. But do I mind who's the champ? Not really. I don't mind if it's Andrew or if it's Laura. Either one of those two. I think it'd be kind of cool if it's Laura because she's in my faction now, and we're actually a team now, kind of. So I think it'd be kind of cool to have like an in-faction Star Wars final for the championship. Yeah. I think that'd be cool, especially considering the whole, you know, corruption, Laura feud and all that. I think that'd be kind of fun to have me and Laura face off. But I still eventually down the line want to play Alex, maybe even just the singles game, one-on-one. Just because that's my one loss. It's literally my only loss. I need to avenge it. So yeah.
Totally get that. We got a question from Dagan here in YouTube chat real quick, piggybacking off this. How did you do playing along in the Damon and Demolanta match?
Yeah, that's my thing. I wish people saw my tweet. I don't think anyone saw it. I don't think anyone follows me on Twitter. Because I tweeted out I was like kind of mind blown by those questions. And by mind blown, I mean mind blown by how easy those questions were. I got them all like easy, and I talked to Alex afterwards, and he kind of agreed with me. He was like, "Yeah, they were easy," and I was like, "Yeah, they were easy." I got them all right, and it was one of those things where I didn't think any of them, except for the last question, was hard. And Alex and I agreed that our match, those were way harder in our match. Like again, the Mimbon Colonel and like other stuff like that, where I was like, all right, this is not the same level of questions that Alex and I got in our match. At least I felt, because I felt like if you look at their fives was Ponima Terminal and then the elevator number. Ponima Terminal is literally like Ray literally says, I'm gonna drop you off at Ponima Terminal, and it's one of those movies. Like if you're watching the movie once, and if you're just taking notes, you can get that. And then the elevator number was repeated by Obi-Wan like 3 times in Revenge of the Sith. So it's like, if you're paid attention, you could be like, all right, maybe this is kind of important. Those were their 5s. And then the other kind of mix-up questions were a lot of repeats. I don't know if you've watched the Schmoedown for years, you know that they repeated a lot of them, at least in round 1. And then the other ones were like, you know, a couple Rise of Skywalker questions, a couple Force Awakens ones. The 3-pointer, the betting round one was a Night Watcher Warm. If you're taking notes for Force Awakens, it's kind of, you know, it stands out in the movie. So I feel like all the questions were like just not that crazy. But again, that's this match. Another match can be like, you know, who's the drummer for Max Rebo Band or something.
Wow.
So, you never know. Yeah.
Well, I will add this, that you know, as a Star Wars fan, I was watching that match, and there were some that I thought some of those questions were difficult. But I would say that you're probably more Star Wars expert than I am. So I think that's also another factor, because I would say that Christian and Mark are Star Wars fans, but I don't think they're looking at this sheet. I'm like, yeah, this is really difficult. But for someone like you or Andrew and Alex, it's like, oh, this is get this off of here, or get this off of here.
Although that makes the 1 or 2 difficult questions all that more important, because you can only drop 1 question if you ever hope to win a Star Wars match.
Yep. I know you had a question for him, Star Wars related.
I do. I got one that's kind of a dumb question, but I love asking it to Star Wars fans. And then I got one that's a little more important, and I'm gonna try to squeeze them all into one. Also, I love your confidence going in. I'm loving your energy going into this tournament, and I can't freaking wait. So my question is, I'm a big Legends guy. I've read a lot of the comics. I watch like Star Wars versus videos on YouTube. I love kind of getting into the lore. And I was wondering, do you have room for non-movie Star Wars knowledge? Do you have room for Legends and knowing the difference between Exar Kun and Ula Keldroma? Like, do you have room for all that crap when you have to answer movie questions? Like, what's your relationship with Legends?
If I'm being honest, no. I feel like as much as I love Legends too, I feel like I had to pick as far as like what my energy is going to go towards. And I feel like if I focus my mind on canon, I feel like that's almost even though I know all the Dragon Con people, technically what they're studying is also canon. It's just so far away from the movies. It's so far removed to the point that I almost feel like maybe that's an advantage that the movie only Star Wars competitors have, like Andrew, Laura, me, Sean Sullivan, like us four versus like Marie, Zach and Harper, who are more like, going to the books, going to the comics, going to all that. The more you can focus and hone in on certain information, the better I think your gameplay will be than if you have like a bunch of stuff that's never going to be asked taking up space in your head. But
I completely agree with you, because I'm a live and breathe all of Star Wars. I've played role-playing games in the Star Wars universe. I know planets and all that. I don't do too well in the Schmoedown because I don't know the really movie-centric questions. So that was awesome. That's it. That was
comment. I think it does to a degree, because there are some characters that are also in like Legends and canon now. For example, the Crimson, who's in the Force Awakens, it has I forget his name, but it's Crimson something, and you wouldn't know that unless what?
Sorry, keep going.
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't know that unless you actually read the books and maybe played some of the games and other legend stuff. So I think it's like you have to pick and choose which to focus on it.
I would also point out on the other side that the only Harry Potter questions I've ever missed in the Schmoedown was because I had the book answer and not the movie one. So you could get too caught in the weeds.
There's definitely ways where you're definitely helped by it, but I feel like for the most part it might just be overwhelming. And I know who you're talking about. Are you talking about Sedano Itano? Is that who you're talking about?
I think so. Again, I'm not as I just know Crimson something.
It's the guy who goes off with Finn to the Outer Rim.
Who's talking to Finn, leaving.
His name is Sedan Itano. But again, if you kind of like pay attention, if you're like, all right, who's this guy? You can kind of find an answer.
That's great. You guys sitting here listing names, and I'm like, cool.
You're doing the Homer Simpson nerd scream, the nerd.
Yeah.
Nerd. I don't know. Do you guys one more question? Does anybody got one more question before we wrap up?
I got a stupid question. I got just something I like to ask Star Wars fans, like in general. What are your 3 favorite lightsaber hilts? You can go Legends or what, but I love me lightsaber tech, and I gotta go like Kyle Katarn, Darth Malgus, and Exar Kun done. So I went all Legends, but
okay, yeah, I'll stay inside what I remember as a kid, which is the Obi-Wan hilt was always the coolest one.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, I'm super partial towards the Darth Maul one. The Darth Maul one is super cool. I think the Palpatine one is awesome too.
The tiny little ones. Out of oh, so cool. Yeah.
And then maybe who else? I used to have, which one I had? I had the Qui-Gon one. And I know that's not the most popular one, but I had that as a kid, so it has like a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
But I had that toy lightsaber, the Qui-Gon one, so it was fun.
Great.
Nice.
Great, Ace. Man, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. It's been great chatting with you, and good luck in this tournament coming up. Like I said, I'm looking at the bracket again here, and I definitely, like I said before, want to see you take on Harper just because of mainly because of all the hype that's been around Harper. See what he can do, especially up against you. And I'm rooting for Marie Wilson on the left side of the bracket. I'll just go ahead and say it. I'm pulling for Marie to play in the final against either you or Harper. And I listen to that. No offense, Sullivan or Whiteley. I'm not. That's not a knock. That's just my opinions.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely curious how Whiteley's going to do as well. And then on the other side, Marie, and then Zach versus Witt, right? Zach versus Witt.
Yes.
Yeah, I was hoping for Molly, but I obviously, no offense to Wit, but again, I just hanging out with the Damons. I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool to face off against Molly Damon in the final or something like that? But if not, yeah, that'd be kind of fun. Maria would be dope. Anyone on that side would be a lot of fun. So
also, Wit gets that odd place of being the only competitor who could go through all of the Dragon Con players and then play for the title. So
that would he would be a legend.
I want the Wit upset. I want Wit ace. I want the Wit upset. I do.
Yeah.
That would be
Also,
incredible. Yeah.
We'd have to change his name to Dragon Slayer at that point, right?
Hey, that'd be amazing. That would be amazing. I'm low-key rooting for that now. Yeah.
Good luck in the tournament coming up, Ace, and good luck this season. Not only to you, but to Swag as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, and we'd love to have you on again sometime. Thank you.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Cabrera, everybody, from Swag, Star Wars player. It's going to be a great tournament, so everybody be sure and tune in when that starts. I asked today. They haven't dropped the date of when the tournament starts yet, have they? I don't think
that I know of. I think they just said May. Is that all I know is May? I think that's all I know.
Yeah. I think that sounds right, but I didn't want to sit here and be like, it's not been announced yet, and then they, you dumbass. Which would be a fair, very fair criticism of myself. But yeah, this has been a great week, guys. We do have a couple of stereo comments from earlier. I'm going to go ahead and play those real quick. Here we go.
On the opposite version of what Jay was saying for the TKO, my thing is this: like, let's say you're a barbarian, you fought back and got all your 3-round questions right, so you got TKO, or so you didn't get TKO'd, and okay, that doesn't get you -1. But then on a different match, I don't remember who it was, but somebody like fought back, barely didn't get KO'd. That's the one I was thinking. Barely didn't get KO'd. And instead they get TKO'd, that's still -1 for their faction. All that matters is the other person doesn't get 1 point. And what do they care if the other faction gets 1 point?
Any thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I think maybe they should have like a higher deduction for a KO specifically. And the reason why that's okay is because KOs are much, much harder. It's easier to get a TKO because that could range from minus a 1 point behind or a 10-point behind, whereas a KO is an 11-point behind. So it's much more difficult to get a knockout rather than a TKO. So I think maybe they should tweak that for next season and maybe just make it maybe 2 points or something. I'm not gonna.
Am I misinformed? You get a negative for TKO. I thought you just do for a normal TKO, right?
You get a negative if your opponent doesn't answer 3rd-round questions. That's actually the best way to think about it.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's pretty brutal.
In your head, basically.
I thought it was just the KO. I was way off.
No,
that's pretty brutal.
TKO and KO, but I would say that
Because the only negative I got this year was Humphrey, and I thought that was because it was a KO. But all right.
Yeah, I think the issue with adding more points to the knockout, while I do think that's a good idea, you would need to kind of add more points for everything.
Yeah.
Because I find adding the extra points kind of devalues the #1 contender being 4 points now, and the champions match would have to go bump a little bit higher. And I don't actually have a problem with it because bigger numbers just actually kind of look better on a sheet, and it would cause like a different spread to go through the standings and all of that. It's
-2 is
that
brutal,
much of an
though.
issu. It's just figuring out what the best way is.
It's just for KOs specifically, not
Yeah.
KOs. KOs can be at -1, but KOs are just -2 or something different because it's much harder to get a knockout. To get knocked out than it is to get a TKO.
No,
I think -2 is brutal, man.
Opposite end, dude. I I don't think you can give okay, the way the Schmoedown goes and the level that the competition is at, dude. When we're talking about KOs and TKOs, I think it's more on the person who got knocked out didn't have a good match than it is the person who knocked them out had that good of a match. I think it's more so someone didn't play as well as they should have and could have, as opposed to this person excelled beyond what they normally do. That's how I look at it. But we do have a couple more. We got to wrap it up here, guys. I got a couple more, two more that we're going to run through real quick.
Okay, Jay, so do you think it would be better if instead of a -1, if the winner got a +1 for TKO as opposed to the losing player getting a -1? Do you feel like that would be a little bit more fair? And yeah, I mean, like similar to maybe hockey where you have, if you send it into overtime, both teams automatically get a point. So I just was curious what you guys think about that.
I'm sorry, I'm the Canadian. I need to speak on this. The loser point in hockey is actually one of the worst things the game ever introduced because it doesn't actually introduce parity. It introduces the illusion of parity. It allows GMs to keep their jobs by playing above 500, even though they lost 2/3 of their games. I do just need to push back on the loser point actually being a good thing. But I do think I was getting to kind of that sort of point myself of giving a +1 for a TKO, a +2 for a KO, and a -1 for a KO that goes against you. And then just the TKO against you would be eliminated points-wise. But
I disagree. I think a 1 point increase to a KO and 0 points for a TKO is actually perfect because, like I said, it's much, much harder to get a KO than it is to get a TKO. So, and really a TKO, it's because of the numbers. It can
Deep breath, Jay Wayne. Deep breath.
The person who got the TKO did nothing special, nothing inhuman.
Well, Jay,
you still have to play good. The other guy has to play bad.
I do have to push
good.
back on that. In order to get an 11-point lead in a singles match that only has 27 possible points in it, you need to be doing significantly better than your opponent is.
You need to be that better, and your opponent needs to be that bad. So
like
it has to have both conversations.
There's only 17 points in the first 2 rounds, which is the only you need to be leading in those things. If your opponent scores 6 points,
how are you leading? How are
your opponent?
Because the player didn't answer questions right. If other player answers all the...
I want to say something.
Yes, but if your opponent gets 7 points throughout the first 2 rounds, the knockout is absolutely impossible. Mathematically, 100%. You cannot get a knockout by your opponent achieving 7 points, which is 5 questions.
Jay Wade, I agreed with you.
Final word on this one.
I agreed with you for a moment. You're right. If I go perfect, that doesn't mean I'm going to get a TK or doesn't mean I'm going to get a KO. I completely agree with you. He has to suck, but I have to be good. If I was average and he sucked, who cares? If I just sucked a little less, that doesn't matter. I still have to play like an MFer to knock him out.
Because the other person sucked harder than sucking.
Yeah, but you have to still be good.
Effective, I guess. I don't know.
You still have to kill it. You still have to be good. He has to suck. But if he sucks and you barely suck less, that's not a KO. You still have to kill it. You still have to play good, man.
I love today's episode so much.
But I wanted to say something a while. I think -2, going back on an old thing, I think -2 is kind of brutal. And if anything, if you want to separate a point negative from KO to TKO, I think you don't give a negative for TKO. I think TKOs are really often, and they happen a lot, and losing points is brutal. But that's just me, man. -2, that's like a full singles match gone because somebody got KO.
It doesn't happen too much. That's the thing. It just doesn't happen as much as a TKO.
You're having a lot more games, and it's happening more. It's going to happen more.
Why can't the glory of a TKO...
You know what? That's going to be next week's Double D. We're going to see how much of a difference between TKOs.
Anyway,
Imagine that. Oh, okay, dude over here knocks old dude out, and then it's like, oh, what are you gonna like? Oh, you got knocked out. Yeah,
Frenchie left 7 minutes ago.
I know, and we've just been.
We're gonna add insult to injury because you suck because you got knocked out. That's how I kind of looked at it. It's like, dude, you already lost. One, you already lost. Two, if you got knocked out, you already got knocked the fuck out. Isn't that
Deep breath. Breathe, my friend. Breathe.
Okay. The one thing is the negative point does not affect you so much as it affects your manager, and I think is more of a reflection on your manager and your study and your preparation more than it is reflective of your skills within the game. Because Dan Murrell can be TKO'd. The question of whether it happens is how well prepared you were going into it.
Okay,
so we have other questions?
While I wouldn't say Liz Shannon Miller deserves a -1, I could argue Sam Levine deserves a -1.
I don't care we're over time. You guys are just fucking killing me right now.
I half agreed with you, and then you screamed at me.
No sense, dude. I don't know. Anyway, I've already said everything I can say. We do have one final. Dagan left us one final comment, and then we will do our plugs and wrap it up after that. It's been a great time.
Hey, guys, just want to say how much I enjoyed the show today. Really nice to hear it from Ace. Wanted to let you all know that we just did our first ever movie trivia stereo match here. We had a triple threat between 50 Shades of a Geek, Cooley High, and Mrs. Cooley High. So definitely be sure to check that out here on my channel, stereo.com/DaganSB. And really always enjoy spending some of my weekend with you guys. Really love to hear all your thoughts. Have a good one.
Yes,
50 Shades of Geek, big friend of both of our shows and our networks. So definitely check that one out.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I know very little about wrestling, but I was listening to him and another fellow talk a little bit about NXT the other night, and it was interesting. He definitely has some perspectives. I don't know if they're good or bad, but I can tell that they're controversial to some people by the way the man talks. I love Dagan. He's a good guy. Thank you for your support, Dagan. And yeah, everybody go check him out. Okay, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. These guys, they absolutely killed me. I don't know. I got to take an old man afternoon nap or something.
Or just heart medication. That's fine.
Dude, something. Let's go through here. Start, of course, with my numbers guy. I love you, Double D. Why don't you tell the folks where they can find you at, man?
You can find me on Twitter and Facebook, Twitter and Stereo at Dane Dolinsky. Simple as that. You can find me here every Saturday, or as most of the time, telling the numbers for the Schmoedown, trying to teach Jay Wade some numbers, but it's a 90% chance I'm gonna fail, but I still do it anyway.
It's an uphill battle, but we make ground up every day, so it's a good thing. Also, our guys from Schmoes of the North here, we've got Daniel came back. He's been here several times. Maple Dan, as we know him here. Why don't you tell the folks what you got going on and where they can find you at?
Yeah. You can find us over on Schmoes of the North, which we're actually live now. The Mount Schmoedown boys are over talking about the Wangers, which those guys, for those of you who are newer to the Schmoedown, way back in the day, they've been connected to Mark and Christian since the Schmoes No days. They're all really great guys. I'm not sure quite how much Schmoedown related they're going to be talking on this, but all of the Wangers definitely deserve some accolades. So go and check that out. You can also check out our normal show, Schmoedown Night in Canada. It's airing weekly now. We're almost always live. We air Fridays or Sundays or both, depending on live shows. There's so many matches to cover. This season's insane, guys. We're working on an FCL show, and we've also got like comic a comic book podcast, we've got a TV show podcast, and we've got an everyday life and retrospective podcast, the Frenchie Talks, and also Snark's Midlife Crisis. So just so much content almost every day of the week. You can find one or more of our shows going on.
Excellent. And also from Schmoes to the North, Taco, why don't you tell the folks where they can find you at and on the social media and what shows you're on?
Well, you'll find me at the Schmoes to the North. I'm the new guy there, and I'm the American, which is just horrible. It's the worst to deal with these disgusting Frenchmen and Canadians with their beady eyes. Yeah, exactly. Their beady eyes and their flapping heads and their Terrence and Phillip and fart jokes.
And their open doors.
Yeah. But I'm not like one of these people. I don't really have too much of an online personality. I'm just a guy who's been watching Schmoes Know for a really, really, really long time. And I'm just a lowly factory worker with a beautiful wife and even like awesomer kid. So, but I am actually a painter. And I'm a fine artist, and if you want to find me on Instagram where you can check out my art, it's at Mark Taco Face, all one word. And yeah, I do really dark, horrible paintings with really bright colors. So yeah.
Yeah, be sure to check all that out. And I also do like to plug out to Let's Get Ready Network. Check out their website, letsgetready.com, or is it letsgetreadynetwork.com? Yeah, they got a lot of good stuff up there. I check it out daily. So I would suggest going over there for latest updates and stuff like that. Y'all can find me on the Twitter and on stereo at JWade1134. That's the letter J, WADE 1134. You can also follow this network at the Jcast Network, both on Twitter and stereo at the Jcast Network, and also on Facebook. We have a Facebook page where I upload clip outs from this show every day. And we got a big announcement coming up in a couple weeks of a couple more shows that are non-Schmoedown related that are coming to the network. That's going to be a big announcement on April 24th. So be sure and come back to that. Trust me. If you're a Schmoedown fan, you're gonna like announcement. But yeah, that'll do it, guys. That'll do it. It's been a hell of a fun day. I still hold my ground that you guys are nuts, and you absolutely drove me insane with your insanity. So,
dude, we had nothing to do with it, man. You were at that edge. Don't blame us for your anger, dude. Bring that up with your therapist or something.
He might have been at the edge, but we were Bugs Bunny with the saw going.
Okay, guys, that'll do it for us here today. Everyone, have a great and safe week until next week. Yeah, enjoy the Schmoedown this coming week, everybody. You want to hear something funny? The mic wasn't on that whole time.
No way.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, wow.
So smooth.